Have you ever come back to your car after parking it and someone parks like this? Well, in this car, you've got a very, very nifty feature. All you need is the key. Let's see it. Car's now unlocked. No one in the car, engine running. Should pull out this space. Heard the handbrake there. Oh, the car's in D. She's creeping forward. Completely out of space. And if we unlock the car, it's a bloody Ghost driving it. You're watching Car Nitty. My name is Mizan, and today I've got a BMW 7 Series G11. I think this car is more than just an executive limousine. I think it can be a really good family car, and in this video we're going to be going over that. Let's talk about price. You can pick one of these up from around 25 to 30,000 pounds. Now, to you behind the camera, you might be thinking that's a lot of money. This is actually BMW's flagship car, so you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. People pay that much to be in an SUV just so they can be a bit high off the ground. Why pay a premium for a car just to be off the ground high when you can have a premium car for that money? Before we get into spec, we have to cover power. So this car has got a 3-litre single turbo diesel engine which produces 261 brake horsepower and 620 newton meters of torque. The engine in this car is the B57 based off the brilliant B58. That engine you get in most other M-Lights such as the M340i and whatnot, and this is the diesel version. Now the petrol car has got so much torque low down, so you can imagine how strong this diesel one may be. The car is paired with an 8-speed ZF gearbox, which is obviously a torque converter, which suits the personality of this car very well. It sends its power to the rear wheels, but you can get an extra version if you wanted to. You might think that the 730d isn't powerful enough for you, and that's fine. You can get yourself a 740d. It's the same engine, the B57, but it's got a twin turbo rather than the single. If you're someone that really wants all-out performance, you can get a M760i or M760Li. That car has a V12 under the bonnet and it's derived from Rolls Royce, which BMW own. One thing to note there is it's not an M7. BMW did not want to put an M badge onto a 7 Series because it doesn't fit the ethos of the M brand. So it's an M performance car, not an M car. And finally, the last engine choice to have is the 740e. That's basically a 2-litre 4-cylinder paired with an electric motor, but I don't recommend that engine. I'd say getting one of the diesel engines, or if you've got the pockets, get the 760i. If this car isn't long enough for you and you want to do some chauffeuring, you can get yourself the long wheelbase version. And the way to know if it's a long wheelbase or not is in the title. So this is a 730d. If this was the long wheelbase, it would be 730LD. Now it's time to talk about spec. And this car is pretty much fully loaded minus the panoramic sunroof. I'm only going to talk about stuff that really stands out above your typical X5 or Q7. We've got cameras all over the car, including 360 cameras, which are as high definition as me sticking my head out the window. You're never going to worry about going through a tight gap ever again. Back in 2016, this was revolutionary. The gesture controls are gimmicky, but it's still a very cool feature to have even if you won't use it. You can pretend to be David Blaine to an unwitting passenger. This car can also spray fragrances through the vents. I'm sure your local BMW dealer prices for these are quite competitive and far cheaper than those tree-shaped air fresheners, no doubt. There's genuine leather in areas you would never touch, like the dashboard. The quality of this interior is phenomenal. We've got TVs in the back controlled via tablet in the center console. The screens also have HDMI input, so you can retrofit a PlayStation at the back of the car if you fancied. I think it's crazy that a non-long wheelbase version of this vehicle has this. The car has memory seats and blinds for both rear occupants and the rear windshield. There's several things I haven't mentioned, but if I did, I'd be here all day. Without further ado, it's time to go for a drive. Now, because this is a 7 Series, it makes sense to review the back as well as the front. So I'm going to be hopping in the back first. So now, guys, I'm in the back seat of the 7 Series. And I have to say, what a lovely change this is. Usually I'm in the front like some sort of, what's the word, man? Peasant. That's the word. Today I'm not the peasant. We've got the owner of the car as the peasant. You guys can't see him right now. But yeah, it's lovely back here. I mean, I can recline my seat. If I just move it forward. Oh. Oh. I mean, I could just go to sleep right now. Listen, mate, do you do airport runs? Can I just hire you to go for airport runs? Honestly, it's lovely in here, man. So one of the things I need to mention is the fact that he's got a Starlight roof here. Now, obviously, this isn't a factory option. He's had this done, but Starlight roof started out on Rolls Royces, so initially that's where it came from. And considering the fact that this is a luxury car, as well as the fact that technically BMW own Rolls Royce, I think it suits this car. And yeah, in the back seat, I've just got so much customization. I've got this tablet in front of me. I can watch telly. So if you've got kids and your kids just literally eat your ears out whilst you're trying to drive, it's perfect. Honestly, just put them in the back. They've got 2 little tablets. They can watch their shows. They're not going to bother you anymore. And there's just so much customization here. I'll admit this though, if there was someone sitting in front of me right now, I would squish them, because I have the ability to move their seat, and I would be squishing them right now. We've got so many things. So let's talk about the first thing. Look, we've got blinds. If I press this button here, look at that, guys. Blinds just come up. Back, look behind my head. Look at that. I'm not gonna do the one on my side because the camera's mounted there. That would be a very bad idea. But in general though, look, you just have so much privacy in this car. I mean, it's already got tints, this car, but you get blinds as well, and it's just so satisfying. Just look at the mechanism. Look how soft it is. It didn't even make a noise. It just didn't even make a noise. And another one is this. Look at this armrest. Now you can see I've got the armrest out, and I've got this area where it folds into, but this folds in. But notice how it's not hollow here. It's not just some black nasty bit where this is going into. They've designed it so this leather flap comes out, so when you're sitting here, you don't feel like it's cheap. And it's those things that really lift the interior. So you've got the blinds, you've got adjustment for your seat. I mean, I'm reclined as hell right now. I think I'm gonna sort it out. My back's starting to ache. So as you can see, my back's getting straighter, which I really prefer. And then we've got 4-zone climate control. I mean, I don't even know the word for it. I mean, I know dual zone, but it's a quad zone. Someone told me in the comments, I don't even know. But you've got so much customization, and you've got memory seats here, so if you like it in a certain way, you can do it. Now, when it comes to cars like this, you actually want to be sat behind the passenger, because behind the passenger, you can move that seat all the way forward and you can have all that space. And here in obviously the UK, we drive on the left-hand side of the road. So typically when you get pulled, when you stop somewhere, you're going to get at the left side of the car and the pavement's going to be there. We've got Nas here, he's driving the car and he's just driving so softly for me right now, and it's just, it just works. This car is so isolated from the road. I mean, I could have a pop and bang map car run by me right now. I don't think I'd hear it. That's how quiet it is. There's no road noise. There's literally nothing. This is a car made for long distance commuting, man. It really, really is. This car has got air suspension, so the car literally lifts itself up when you need it to, and it drops itself when you need, when you also want it to as well. Now, the thing about this car, it's got like a maxed in design kit on it, which I'm sure you guys could see on the when we were recording outside the car. And this car, I'm told by Nas that when you put the car into sports mode and you're around bumpy roads, the splitters do get caught, but on dual carriages and motorways, it rides quite fine. So that's something to bear in mind if you want to make your car look sporty. So Nas just put his foot down a little bit there, and he didn't, there's no reaction to me in the car. And you might think that's because the car is slow, but it's not about that actually. It's because of the fact that this car has been calibrated for the passengers not to feel that movement. It's not supposed to throw you. If it does, then it's doing a very poor job. I love the fact that it's got this sort of I don't even know what to call it, but it's like a wood grain effect. I don't think it's even wood, but I imagine if I had a yacht, this is the materials I would have in my car. It just feels like a yacht. That's the honest truth. And as it's getting darker, the ambient light and everything's just coming together. And honestly, I think of all the cars I've been on in Carney, this is one of those loveliest cars I've sat in. So one thing as well is this car's got massage function built in, which I think is crazy on a non-long wheelbase model. So you know what? Whole body activation. Something's moving. Basically, when you put that on, what it's doing is, if you think of the cushions, it basically does this to you. That's basically what it's doing to you right now. Like, the bolsters are just basically pushing on my body, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's literally doing it in a random method. So it does feel like a massage, but it feels like I'm being massaged by a child, because with the small hands. I don't think I should say that on camera. It doesn't make me look good, does it? So Nas is telling me to try the pelvic activation. So you know what? Let's move it to pelvic, and it's on max power. I feel like I'm being subjected to sexual harassment. That's what I feel like. I mean, my bum cheeks are moving up and down, so I don't know whether to like that or not. Does that make it even more weird? But yeah, I mean, honestly, there's just endless. Oh, that one really pushed on my right cheek. Oof, that one really hit my right. It's still doing it. What, my right cheek was literally like that. It was in the sky. Oh, that one was weird. But basically, the best way to describe it, if you've never sat in one of these cars, which this is the first time for me, is the bolsters are all there, and they almost have this sort of mechanism that just push up and down. That's literally it. And depending on which part of the body you select, it will do some sort of movement against that body part. I don't like it. I'm not used to people touching me. I think that's what it is. I'm just not used to it, you know. I put too much time into car Nitty and no one loves me. What can I say? So honestly, guys, as I said, there's just endless amount of customization in this car, and I think it's criminal that, well, the ambient light's looking really good here. I wonder if you guys can see all of that, but I think it's actually criminal that people think this car is just for chauffeuring and that's it. Now, this car brand new was what, 90 grand, 80 grand? I'm not sure. I genuinely don't know off the top of my head. But to think that this is worth about 30 grand, I don't know what car you can buy bang for buck that offers you as much as this. Because realistically, these cars come fully loaded at the factory. Then on top of that, the spec options you can get is out of this world. I mean, the technology in this 7 Series will be in the future 3 Series as standard, 2 generations down the line. You're literally getting next gen technology early in one of these, and I just don't think you can put a price on that. And yeah, like I said, it's amazing to sit in the back. I would love to do long distance commuting in this, so I just see the appeal in this car. I really think that this is an amazing car for a family. I mean, if you've got 5 kids, look, put that away. More than enough space. This car is really wide. You can fit 3 people in the back comfortably. I just think this is amazing package. And shortly we're going to pull over, and Nassie's going to get in the back, and I'm going to be the one driving, so we'll see how that feels. Do I have to do that though? Do I have to get in the front? Nah, man, come on, just drive, man. Man, who said journalism was easy? That camera is so high. I feel like borrowing that camera for car Nitty. I could steal the camera out of this car and stick it from. Oh, the steep belt just strangled me for no reason. Yeah. Why did you do that? I didn't do anything. Alright, I'm in the driver's seat, and now Nassie's in the back, so he's going to be our passenger. So straight off the bat, as I'm driving this car feels like you're driving a 4x4, because it has that waftiness about it, that bolt feeling. Now, some people wouldn't like that bolt feeling, but I actually like it depending on the car. Not everything has to be sporty. This car's just not made for that. So I can actually really appreciate the way this car is set up. I could purposely go for a pothole right now and I wouldn't feel it. I can tell you that right now. You can throw some dead bodies in front of me, I'll just glide over them. It is that good. How are you feeling in the back then, Naz?
Comfortable, man.
Yeah? How often do you get to enjoy the back of the car?
Here and there.
You basically throw the keys at your boys and like, listen man, it's my turn to sit in the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't lie, it has to be done. It has to be done. But this car is extremely smooth. I mean, I can't even tell when it's changing gears. And in the driver's seat, you feel just as isolated from the road as you did in the back. It's the exact same feeling. Now, I wonder if you give it a bit of a kick down, what it reacts like. Torque is there. The torque is there. It doesn't throw you in your seat, but it's enough to get you around, isn't it?
Put on sport.
Right, so I'll put the port into sport mode, and the dials have changed. And I'm gonna say this right now, it's not blisteringly fast, but you know what? I'll say this right now. It's no different to a 320d, essentially. A 3 Series is a smaller car, and a 2-litre diesel engine is more than enough to sort of lug it around, and that's what the 730d is like. The 3-litre diesel is more than enough to lug this car around. You're never gonna pull up to a junction and be scared to pull out, because it's still got more than enough power to get out. And yeah, I have to be honest, this is such a lovely place to be. Even in the front seat, it's honestly amazing. The ambient lights make such a massive difference. The feeling that you get, it's that being a caterpillar in a cocoon. I mean, I know I'm gonna be a butterfly when I get out, but I don't want to get in this car. You know what? If you're someone that gets into a lot of trouble with driving because you feel the need to constantly put your foot down and do this and do that, buy yourself one of these. You're gonna drive the speed limit everywhere you go, because it actually feels so nice to just do the speed limit and get along. Now, I'll have to be honest. if you are going to buy one of these, running costs will be that of a flagship car. I mean, it's not going to be cheap. Tires, brake pads, etc. It's not going to be cheap. You have to be prepared for that. But I'm not saying this is the perfect car for your average family man. I'm saying it's the perfect car for someone that is looking to get a 4x4. Because realistically, you're paying a lot more for a 4x4 and you're not getting as much as this. No way, in my opinion. I've driven a Rolls Royce Ghost at one point. So I drove one about 5 years ago, and it was the Series 1 model. And I have to say, I still remember what that car felt like. It felt like a bolt. Like when you turn the entire wheel, I mean, just for argument's sake, I'm just going to move around the lanes. It feels like that. It's like a bolt. The whole car rocks as you move left to right, because that's what it's for. And it feels like you're gliding on water. And you know what? A Rolls Royce Ghost, let's see how much a second-hand one is. I'll put it on screen right now. But this for 30 grand, what a package. Honestly, what a package. I've always said it to myself, I would buy one of these if I could. If I was in the market for 30 grand, I'd buy myself a S-Class or a 7 Series or an A8, because I think they just represent excellent value for money. So one gripe I have is this. I hate the fact that when people think about executive cars, the S-Class comes to mind straight away. Why? What is it about that three-pointed star that people think that's the one to get? I remember when this car came out and the technology that this car had, it drove me nuts. I still remember today how I felt about this car. And now that I'm driving it, it honestly doesn't disappoint. The S-Class doesn't have nowhere near as tech as this. I mean, yes, you can spec it with some of the toys this has, but you have to add them as options. This car gives it to you for free. I just don't think that there's a better package than this out there. I really don't. And I wish that the S-Class wasn't so overhyped to be the best in its class, because I don't think it is. I'll admit this, the thing about the BMW is it looks sporty. For a, you know, an executive car, there's that hint of aggression about, because it's still a BMW and it's got the M Sport package. And something about an AMG line S-Class, it still has that classiness about it, but I just think it's unfair to write the 7 Series off. You can have a car of this level and get such good fuel economy. That's the crazy part. It's just a 3-litre diesel. This is not going to rinse your pockets. Now, someone that buys a Rolls Royce, you're going to get a V12 petrol engine. There's no other choice, because Rolls Royce is for that. You have to have that kind of money to afford one. This car, 3-litre diesel, you don't have to be mega rich to own one. I mean, that's the crazy part. You don't have to be a chauffeur. Chauffeurs can get their long wheelbase version. Tell me why you shouldn't buy this car. Give me one good reason why this is not a good buy. I honestly can't think of any. The way I see it is, if you're going to be buying a car, ask yourself, do you want a performance car or do you want a family car? That's the first two questions. Now, if you're going to go for a performance car, go wild. Buy what you want. Buy a hot hatch, super saloon, do what you want. But when it comes to a family car, estates come to mind. Something like an RS, well, I say an RS6, but even an A6 Avant, something like a 7 Series. It's not that much when people think about it. It's depreciated so much. I'll be honest, the whole time I've driven this car, I have never felt the sensation to put my foot down. I mean, I'm doing 30 and there's a camera there saying 40 miles per hour. I mean, that sums it up. This car, it doesn't even want to make you want to drive fast, because it feels so nice. You're just so happy to be out in it. The steering is so light, 2 fingers. And look, the whole car just rocks. I'm one of those people, I love driving. I'm sure you can tell, that's why I'm called Car Nitty. But stuff like this, I'm telling you, there's still an enjoyment driving a car like this. You might think that all the action's in the back, you want to be in the back. I like driving cars like this. I really, really love it. Look, yellow light, I didn't even feel the need to just punch it and go for it. There's no urgency in this car. No urgency. Want to feel like a millionaire without breaking the bank? Want a lavish car that drives amazing as well as look good on the driveway? The luxury barge is a hard segment for both BMW and Audi to compete with Mercedes. The S-Class gets picked by most chauffeurs, which is the biggest target audience. The elegant looks of an S-Class is unmatched, but you have to appreciate the way BMW tried to combine refinement and sportiness in a package, whereas Audi go for subtlety with the A8. I think it's great we live in a world where we have a choice between all three. I have to say, the 7 Series is a genuine budget Rolls Royce. The A8 is a budget Bentley Flying Spur, and the S-Class is a budget Maybach. There's no wrong choice here, but if you're looking for a car for your family and you've got a 30k budget, walk away from the X5 or GLE and look at one of these. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.